The afterlife. What up, what up, what up, what up? Well, I took my 15 minutes before any lecture. I take 15 minutes. Clear my consciousness out. I got lights flickering around me and all this shit. But I clear myself out. I get myself into that space, get myself to that zone. And this is what I heard while I was meditating, which I got in the background. The fall. The fall. That's the reason that you came down here. You came down here to assess your fall. The afterlife. We've been given this external idea of the afterlife. We've been given a lot of external ideas. So tonight I wanted to get into the different things of understanding, like why you get attracted to certain things, why certain aspects stick out to you, certain definitions that you stay safe into that zone. Similar to I've talked about the aspects of reincarnation. Every time that you nod off and you come back, every time you nod off and you wake back up, you've reincarnated. You went through a state of reincarnation. We're going to get into spiritual packing, the hyper vigilance, the hyper drive sense. We're going to get to a lot of this stuff tonight because all of this has to do with your afterlife, the afterbirth. I want you to think about this. When you die, because when you come down here, you basically die. When you come down here, now you in this realm, that's why what comes out after you is the afterbirth. After your birth, that's the afterbirth. That's everything that's inside of that aspect of the placenta, everything that you were connected to that was supposed to actually keep you online. You were cut off from that. So you were cut off from the source of your life. You were cut off from the first original sources of your energy inside of that space. So we're going to be getting into that tonight too. But I want you to think about this. You came down here based on you fell. You fell. You are, when it talks about the story of the Pistis de Sophia, and they're talking about the motherfucker that pierced outside of the womb and fell down here, they're talking about the aspects of your conscience. They're talking about your ego. That is that crutch, that is the handicap that you came down here with. Ever since then, you've been trying to do everything inside of this space. When we talk about the Christian aspect, and they're talking about the afterlife, the streets made of gold, and there's never no sadness, and there's never none of this. Whatever religious aspect that you came from, a lot of you, you still stuck in that program. When we talk about going deep inside of yourself, understand I'm gonna break this down into 3 levels. If my lower aspects are hell, and my mind is the aspect of being heaven, then what would be the in between? The path of the heart. What would the path of the heart be? This would be the aspects of purgatory. This is the aspects of purgatory. Don't give you something else that's really trippy. You notice every time you see somebody do the prayer, they go like this. They go like this. You ever wonder why they do it upside down? Because it's not the cross it's not raising Christ energy, it's the descent, it's the St. Peter going into that descent, the things that you fell, your denouncement into all these aspects. Everything down here is designed for you to descend, to stay in the descent, to fight your way up to something. Everything down here is built for you for you to try to climb your way out of something. But if as above, so below, If as above, so below. Mm-hmm. If as above, so below. As within, as without. If whatever is inside of my roots, whatever is at my root is in, whatever is in my, whatever I'm rooted in, that's what I grow into my tree. That's what I grow through my, that's what I grow through, that's what I keep growing in. So whatever I'm rooted in. So why would I think about my afterlife? And this is why they gave you that dream, peace. They gave you that aspect of the afterlife, the streets of gold, everything. You got to build that. That is your mind. So think about the aspects of what your afterlife is. So I wanted to start with spiritual packing. Because that's one thing that a lot of people really don't understand when it comes into you. You packed for this trip. When we talk about the contract, you packed for this trip. You packed for this. You packed for all this to happen. You packed all this into your bag. You packed it all into the bag and you said, okay, cool. This the shit I'm gonna need to use when I go down there. And I got a couple of stories about the aspects of different past lives, understanding my past lives in those aspects. I've told the story about my final death here on this plane. I died 3 times on this plane. Talked about those aspects. But here goes the truth. I'm gonna go to the end and come back to the beginning. Until you do the work, you can't even start building your afterlife. Until you do the work, you can't start building your afterlife. I've talked about the land. I've talked about the aspects of neutrality or purgatory. And that's where a lot of motherfuckers get stuck at based on whatever traumatic experience when they crawled out of the hole. You crawled up out of the hole. You're saying, okay, yeah, I've been through some shit. My life was like this. And my mom did this. And my dad did this. Okay. You don't face it. You become that. But my pops was an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. You have an addictive complex. If you break down alcohol and you say, oh, it's a spirit, or it does the spirits, and then you think about, I've said this before about your lymphatic system, everything that runs through your spleen, that's your lymphatic system, that's your survival. So if that's an open center within inside of your design, then everything that gets streamed through this or filtered through this, it has to feed those aspects. Everything that because you trying to get out of it. Even when motherfuckers talk about, I was thinking about the Matrix. I was thinking about the Matrix the other day. Everybody's like, you gotta get out of the Matrix. You gotta get out of the Matrix. You gotta get out of the Matrix. Because why am I getting out of something that I'm powering? How can I get out of something that I'm powering? There must be a reason that I'm powering it. See, all of these aspects that we got into based on that old paradigm, it's all based on escaping something. Everything from the old paradigm was based on the intellectual aspect to help you escape a certain process of thinking. But the other half, that was the information or the light. All the information that came to the surface from all of our master teachers, from Bobby Hemmett, Brother Panic, Dr. Phil Valentine, all of our master teachers, they were bringing from the darkness to the light for you to, okay, now what are you about to do with it? They brought it to the light. So you can, okay, cool. That's the shit that was inside of there. That's what by them doing their work, and that was the example that you always see, by them doing their work, they were able to bring that to the light, to bring that new light into the space. They went through their descents. They went through their falls. But this is why so every time someone goes through that fall, you have to create as above, so below. So what would it look like if something went forward? I need an example of what it doesn't look like. But see, we got stuck in the togetherness, in the collective consciousness. We're all going to be in the collective. We're all going to save each other. No. Right now, if you going through your healing process, you don't even realize that just because you were initiated to heal and to save your family and bring the lineage of your family, There was other motherfuckers that came through that same hole, through your mom's womb. There was same motherfuckers came through that same hole that are here to do the exact opposite. They're here to do the exact opposite. One of the biggest things that I had to realize was, if you haven't seen the 7 Deadly Sins, you ain't watched the 7 Deadly Sins. I always like using anime as an example. If you haven't seen the 7 Deadly Sins, I was watching the 7 Deadly Sins yesterday during my final come down. That sounds funny. I was watching 7 Deadly Sins, and there's the Supreme Mother, and then there's the Dark Father. Like, that's what they are. They created the Holy War. They created the Holy War. They didn't want the Holy War to end because that's what they were created for. There were two ends of that polarity that were meant to keep things locked within that constant conflict. The protector of the light, the protector of the darkness. Now, there's differences between these aspects, and we don't get deep into it to understand why everything makes sense. Like, let's give an example. I'm gonna use the example of when you have certain aspects, when you have certain healers, certain aspects of people that are healers, people that they instead of doing the healing work, they come into your inbox and say, "Hey, the spirit sent me to you," or "Hey." Whenever you go on TikTok or on whenever you go on TikTok or some shit like that, and they be like, "Hey, this message is for you," and then they got some frequency playing in the background, and they start moving their hands around, and you sitting there staring at it, like, that made me feel good. That made me feel all good about myself, and yeah, I needed some. How'd they know I got some negative energy on me? Because their purpose is to trap your energy. Their purpose is to trap your energy. So you have to understand there's certain motherfuckers out here that are purposely meant here to trap your energy. They're not an aspect, but you don't have to look at them at, see, this is where we also going to get in. People be like, but see, that's the bad and the evil mob. No. This is purgatory. This is your level of purgatory. Every motherfucker down here, this is the training ground. This is your purgatory. When you initiate your healing process, you initiate your step into purgatory. And from purgatory, you got to make a decision. Exactly. This is purgatory. When you make the decision, oh yeah, I'm about to do my work. This is your purgatory. That's purgatory. This is your you step into purgatory. You step into the land, you step into the neutral zone. You step into the neutral zone. You step in there and you see the Leviathans, and now you start getting tricked, and you're like, oh, I'm getting everything that I wanted. It's peaceful. Now I'm gonna start building here. You can't build in purgatory. There's the light, and then there's the dark, and both of these aspects keep everything locked into this space. So you locked in purgatory. When you're in this healing process, you're locked in purgatory. That's where all of the lessons are. That's when you went and saw American Gods, and they had that ugly ass little white girl looked dead, sick, and she was like, "I'm gonna go in here now. I'm gonna tell you what really happened inside the story." At the end, she wasn't ready to accept the story, and then she wanted to play with her shadow. That's what Shadow Moon represented her. She wanted to play with Shadow, wanted to play with her shadow. That's what she called him, a puppy. But that's when she got fucked up with Anubis, and that nigga said, "Bitch, you gonna die the way you came in that bitch." But that's a whole nother story. We don't get to that whole nother story. But when you're down here, you don't understand. Everything down here eats. Everything down here eats. Everything down here feeds. Everything down here feeds and eats. By you taking the decree of your traumatic experience, the shit you don't want to deal with, you automatically choose a side. You choose a side. There is no such thing as you choosing a side. Ooh, I'm gonna choose a side. I'm gonna choose the side of the light. You don't choose a side. The shit that's up here, those records, those are what set the tone of what side you need to be on. See, this one, you got to let go. You got to really let go of a lot of shit that you've been to keep yourself straddled on the fence. But I don't want to be bad or I don't want to be good. There's shit that I've done that was motherfucking, there's shit that I've done that is horrible. But it was, I needed to do those things. Those are aspects and fragments of myself that I had to experience that through other lives, it didn't serve a purpose. I've been here for multiple cycles. If you've been rocking with me for a while on this, walking with me for a while, I've explained the story. When I came out this time, I came out like this and I was cheesing. I was ready. I chose my balances inside that space. I was like, yep, I'm here. I chose. I remember every time coming down in this bitch, and the first time I'd be like, fuck, I'll be looking this way. Another time I'm looking this way. From my birth, I knew what side I was going to go on. But this time I was in the center point. See, all of these aspects come up, and you not wondering, man, but you got to go through your descent first. I've talked about the descent, and I've talked about the descent on a light note through previous, but we're going to get deep into this descent and what the descent really is. You can't skip out of the descent. You can't deny your fall. The first rule on your contract was letting you know that from the dark comes the light. So most motherfuckers are still stuck in the roots of their own darkness, not wanting to battle, not wanting to deal with that shit because you like what you got from it. You like that you learned how to fight. You like that you can stand up for people and you stood up for motherfuckers' rights. You stood up for motherfuckers. I'm standing up for my family. Not realizing that that's what they're, you don't even understand that if they're always in some type of bullshit and you're always jumping to their, but you never realize why they never seem to get out of the shit. They always seem to be in some shit. Something wrong with their kids, something wrong with their boyfriend, something wrong with them every single time. And then you looking at them like, I can help them because I was there with them. Because the only thing that got you attached to it is the event that happened to you in that same space. You feel guilty about it. You feel guilty about that shit. You weren't there. Your self-worth was taken away. You sit, but I can help. No, you can't. I'm going to tell you, no, you can't. You're talking to somebody right now that literally the first time when I said 8. Yeah, when I was the first time when I turned my eyes on, when I turned my shit on accident, because I was like outside I was outside playing in the sun, I was doing some random ass shit. That's another thing you understand these stories. Any fucking person that can tell you about that what they're coming down here to do, we can tell you what the fuck happened or the time of the day or the place, and it just happened. We were like, it just clicked on. So for the first time when my eyes were trying to reset themselves, running in like a little kid, you know, when you run out, in and out the house, and it was, my eyes was trying to readjust to the light, but like my eyes took a little longer to readjust to the light. And my mom and my pops just got in an argument. My mom and pops just got in an argument. And my eyes are trying to reach to the light. And I'm looking at my mom and my pops argue. And I'm looking at my moms and my pops argue. And my pops is the super Catholic. Like I've told this, my pops is a super Catholic. Super Catholic. And my mom's is the nice Baptist woman, nice Protestant lady. But when I looked at them and my eyes are trying to readjust to the light, I saw my mom in pure darkness and I saw my mom in pure darkness and I saw my pops in pure light. And I'm like, Nigga, I just need to adjust my eyes. But I remember multiple times seeing this happen when I was little, like when I was a baby, when I'm running around the house and in between, I didn't watch commercial. I've told this story before. I never, when I was little, certain things that this is another thing that, you're always on top of your square. Certain things that you've always done were always aspects of your points of your original, you initiating yourself. Even from when I was a baby, I was initiating myself. One of the things that I used to do was I didn't watch TV from age 1 to 3. No, age, 1 to 3. I didn't watch TV. All I used to watch was commercials. That's it. 30 seconds, go back in the room, go do some other shit. I was training myself to take in, I was training myself at that point in time to take in extremely large amounts of information in a short period of time. Because then I realized when I got older and I could do that, like I used to be the one who used to fall asleep in class. I would never be in class. I'm falling asleep in class. But I'm always on point with the information. I'm like, damn. All of these things. Kind of lost track of thought, but we gonna come back. But everything that you did was based on the accents of your fall. Understanding your fall. When you were little and you fell and you got back up, if nobody looked at your ass, you didn't do anything. You kept running and laughing. It wasn't until the first time that you fell and your mom came over there and picked you up and said, "It's you okay? You were hurt." And you looked at them, and your first manipulation for some of y'all was, wait, if I fall, I can get attention. So if I fall, I can get attention. Okay, I'm gonna fall from now on. Let me go fall real quick. Let me go run outside and slip and see who comes to catch me. See, when we think about when some of these traumatic experiences, when you mean about the traumatic experience, the events that you went through, some of these first initiations was based on you. You set that up. This is the level of ownership all the way into your ownership. Because I can go back and tell you, I told the aspects of my birth itself, and it wasn't I was sitting in the womb. No, I remember the cord. I remember the climb. I remember the cord. I remember the climb. I remember knowing that my pops was not my real father. I remember all of this shit. I remember as I'm getting closer and closer to the day and the cord is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That means I'm making the descent. I'm remembering that the memory's going away even more, even more, even more. I remember, like, goddamn, it's getting darker and darker and darker. Like, shit. I remember coming out like, fuck. I remember for 30 seconds. Before the water, I remember 30 seconds before the water broke and I came through and I remember yelling out, shit. I remember being mad. I remember being upset for the 30 seconds prior to that because I was like, shit. I gotta come down because I remember I remember absorbing my brother in the womb, me being a twin, remembering all of these aspects. But all of that came after I accepted the fall. See, when you're going through this process, a lot of people want to go jump in. I want to do the magic. I'm a Kimite. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. And those may be fields and trains. Those may be schools of thought that you might have to go through. So, like, that's why I don't knock anybody there. You become a Hebrew Israelite because that must have been the shit that you needed to go through. That's what your spirit said go through. The thing that'll get to you, the thing that's gonna fuck you up is if you try to come to me and be like, hey, brother, you know we Hebrews. Been there, done that. I slayed a couple of y'all back in the day. That's not us. That's not me. Even in that aspect, I had to realize that the reason that there was a lot of oppositions and a lot of people came, like a lot of motherfuckers came to me with their with their with they with their shit, is because at first I was in opposition with them. But after they listened to me and they had me in such a high regard, I'm like, why do these motherfuckers keep coming to me? Why do Moors keep wanting to come talk to me? Why do Hebrew Israelites want to keep having conversations with me? And why don't they want to debate? I never got a debate thrown at me. Never had no one wanting to argue with me. Motherfuckers never hit me in the inbox saying, hey, I only had 2 people ever hit me in my inbox on some weird shit. And that shit weirded me the fuck out. Because one dude, I accepted his friend request. The moment that I did it, I said shit. And then for about 35 minutes, this nigga trying to tell me about his name and why he picked that name and what he down here to do. And he a galactic. I'm like, that's nice, sir. What you down here to do, that's on you. But if you trying to recruit me, because it was a recruitment speech, I can tell the recruitment speeches. You can't recruit me into anything. You can't recruit me. Because you got to come to, because when I come to people, I come to you humble as fuck. So naturally, in turn, the law of even exchange is going to, you start understanding these laws. And when you understanding what you keep putting out into this space, you keep trying to, like, you're stuck in this aspect because you're trying to climb out of something, escape, control. You thinking escape, so you think you control. So you automatically thinking your power, but you putting your power out based on control, which is a lower aptitude, because power is not found in control, it's found in authority. Power is not in control, it's in authority. Power is not in control, it's in authority. That's why there's safe words. That's why whoever just says the safe word, they're the ones that are in power. But this gets into understanding the correspondence of what keeps you locked in the state of that hyper state of escape, that Stockholm Syndrome with yourself. Like, you don't even, like, the definition of Stockholm Syndrome, every definition that you have, that you ever received, there's degrees to each one of them. So there's always the different polarities when it goes into everything that you go into. Once you understand this I've talked about this energetic sequence, then you understand, oh, those are the examples of this sequence. That's why 6 different rape victims can all attack that. All six different rape victims, it isn't about their experience. It's about the emotional sequence that it fell on. Because you can have 6 different rape victims and they all have 6 different emotional points. They all going to respond in 6 different emotional ways. They'll connect at some point because they all going to go through a wavelength of a sequence or a frequency, but they're all going to react in a different way. But it's always all going to be the same way. They're all stuck in competition. They're all compelled to compete because of that first moment where they until you realize that they learned submission through that moment, or they learned a perverse sense of submission. So submission became a weakness to them. So now, since submission became a weakness to them, now they're compelled to compete. All because they're compelled to compete. When you think about a lot of sexual traumas, a lot of people that have been through sexual trauma, they're compelled to compete. They must stay in competition. They got to stay in this sense of competition to raise their value. They have an external sense of value because their value has been shrouded in that darkness. Until they accept that descent, they can't go get that piece. They can't go get that original piece. So since they're trapped, they're fragmented, that fragment's trapped trapped back here, and it shoots out all of these different, now this is their values. So now that's what they're going to keep trying to go for. So everything that you create based on the traumatic experience, you just keep creating more traps. Because why? Your ego. When your ego came down here, that emotion, that anger, that Damien, that intelligence. Hell, the word breaks down to intelligence. The simple want to do. The imagination. So now you wondering why why you can't you only can imitate and you can't create anything, because that's what most people do, and not even realizing, like, I'm gonna give you some deep shit. If you had to sacrifice a birth because you knew it was gonna break a curse, could you do it? If you had to sacrifice a birth because you knew it would break a generational curse, could you do it? Could you sit there and split that child in half? Could you raise the sword and split that child in half? Could you give that child back to the darkness? Could you give that child could you give that child to the darkness? Could you pay that price to release from that curse? Because that's how some of y'all got here. That's how some of y'all got here. Some of you didn't come through the gate of, oh my God, it was so happy, and in the day that you came, the angels opened up and parted the damn sky. That's not how some of y'all got down here. Some of y'all had to climb out of the pit. Let's say about 90% of you had to climb out the pit. You've been facilitating yourself like, yay, I'm in the light, and yay. No, some of y'all came out of the pit. That's why some of y'all that's why some of your shit ain't going the way you thought it was. Why my life ain't going the way it need to go. But you notice every time you go do some bad shit, you notice your life start to flourish when you do the negative shit. You doing negative shit, your life start to flourish. But when you doing the positive and the good things, your life seem to decline. Because it's letting you know what side you had to come out on. You over here doing bad shit, shit flourishes, and shit going great for you. The moment that you go over here and do this good shit, if I don't understand the reason I was doing the bad shit, the real reason, then that same shit is going to automatically repel the good shit, the positive. The positive reasons that I did this, and then I'm trying to be positive in my life, is automatically going to push this that way. Two positives don't connect. That's when you look at the girl, the good nigga, the good guy wants to save the good girl, and the good girl wants to save the bad boy. That's why you sit there in the early 20s and in the early years, what it looked like right now in the early ages of life, where the woman was running around all free and shit in her 20s and her early 30s and shit. And then by the time she gets into she's 30, 35, 36 in the older ages, and then they realize like, ooh, I want a good person. And then the good guy then turned bad through his 20s because y'all were playing with him because you ain't understanding the descent. But if you let go of the ego, you would understand that that's exactly what the fuck you needed. You went through the process to build the next phase. You went through the process to build the next phase. You went through the steps to build the next stage. You're building other motherfuckers. You're building the next afterlife for other motherfuckers. You building purgatory. Everything a nigga ever feared in his everything I feared in the earlier on stages of my life because of traumatic experiences I had to go through later on in life. Had to experience it. Everything. Had to go through it. I can say it now. I had to go through it. It was supposed to go through. Going through gratitude of going through it. I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that it lined up the way that it did. I'm glad for the fights. I'm glad for the jail time. I'm glad for all that shit. See, you gotta own all of it. You just can't own the pieces that make you feel good about yourself. Because that's what got you stuck down. That's what got you stuck in the first place. You just can't keep accepting shit based on opposition, because that's what got you stuck down here in the first place. That was your lesson in the first place. That's what you packed up in the first bag and left sitting on the counter. Oh, shit. I left my lunch. Then you ran back in. Lunch went there. Now you mad. Damn, who ate my lunch? I put my name on it. Okay, it ain't yours. Somebody else got it. That's when when you're thinking about you being fed on, and you mad about how you getting fed on. Oh my God, this motherfucker's sucking away my energy. They only can they only can connect to you if it's already attached to you. So like all of these charms you got on, if you want to go put all this on, you ain't done no internal work, it ain't gonna do shit. Lighting up like a fucking you lighting up like a goddamn Christmas tree. You lighting up like a goddamn Christmas tree because you trying to be cute. You lighting up like a fucking Christmas tree because you trying to be cute. I'm gonna go grab me a pinnacle because they said that's a protection piece. Okay, what are you protecting yourself from? You ain't done the internal work. This shit ain't gonna do nothing for it. It's going to when we think about protection, it's not based on security. You're thinking about confinement. You're not thinking about protection. You're thinking about confinement. Two different aspects. You can confine some shit, but that's not protecting you from anything. Because as long as this is confined, this is tied to you. So you can, that's why whenever you see in the damn movie, when they got the little white girls in there, they got the white people in there, and they got the white people drawing the little circles and shit, drawing the little pentagrams and lighting the little candles, and then something come out and grab their ass. Because, nigga, who the fuck is you? That's the same shit that you keep doing. Every time that you go into a space in a relationship and some shit, and you don't have clear intentions because your mind is not clear. You ain't got no clear, your intentions aren't clear. Because your intentions can't be clear until you clear the space, till you clear yourself. That's why most of the relationships keep going the way that they keep going. I'm with this person, and they're supposed to love me, and they're supposed to love me for me. But you don't even love yourself. You want someone to be confined to the same shit that you confined to. The same way that your mama did it, and then confined your dad to it, you just going to repeat the same process. I'm going to be, okay, if I have kids, I'm going to get married. You're going to get married. Okay. Go back to the polygamy lecture and remember what I said about when you go into a relationship and you split. When you go into any union and you split, it's going to be 3 against 1, 2 against 1, 4 against 1. It's going to be 2 against 1, 2 against 3. Depending on that motherfucking split. I've talked about the aspects of the 70-30. Understand the 70%, that 70% is up here. This is what you working. This is what you working to. You working to invest and build the 70% back up. Because the 70% is the 30% that is your intention, and the 40% is the 40% of the underworld that you would now have control over. And everything down here, that 30% that's down here is 15%, 15%, and you break that down into everything that's down here. So if you're not in unity with yourself, everything you're gonna go is gonna be a lesson until you face it. So if you're thinking about think about this space right here. Y'all motherfuckers, we've all seen a Kevin Samuels tape of some shape, form, or fashion. In some way. It's came across your timeline. That nigga is that nigga is admitted he is a disruptor. The same way the same way he breaks that shit down, it goes into the same specs of disruption. When you're thinking about you a free spirit, you want to be a free spirit, and you just out here enjoying life and all of this good shit, you just want to put another name on the whole phase. Nigga, I'm about to be a polygamy because that's natural. That's natural for the man to be polygamous and to have multiple bitches. Sir, you got multiple issues with your mom. You got multiple issues with your mother. So instead of you facing the multiple facets of your mother in one woman, you rather split it up into multiple women so you can control it. So you can control that light. Ma'am, you're not a free spirit. Because a free spirit has a structure. It has freedom to move within inside of its space. You just want to reinitiate your whole phase. See, a lot of these titles that we keep, a lot of the titles based on the love and light parameters is just to keep doing what you've been doing. It's like calling yourself a king, but as a king, you survey the path of the heart. As a queen, you survey the paths of the heart. So therefore, how are you a king and a queen, but you ain't taking ownership? I'm going to raise my little king. I'm going to raise my little queen. I'm going to raise my little princess. I don't need, I am my own king. Really? 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 Interesting. Tell me about your father. Tell me about the relationship with your mother. Let's start there and let's work down. I didn't understand it was going to be those types of things that happen that made me act that way or made me act out. Let's go deeper. See, I got to start at the surface and work down. I start where you are at, not where you want to go. I can't go to where I can go to where you want to go. You can't go there. This is the aspect when you understand, like, motherfuckers that are really teaching you your work and going to helping you with your shit, they will let you know up front, you can't go there. I can go there. You can't. Why can't I go there? I'm going to let you know why. I'll let you know why. 1 second. Come back. Because this happened in 1998. What happened in 1998? That one time that you had your first little girlfriend and your mom didn't want her at the house. Your dad didn't want her at the house. So you went to your uncle's house. But then your uncle said, yeah, I'll buy y'all some alcohol. And y'all got high. Y'all had fun. The nigga fell asleep in the other room. That you thought he fell asleep in the other room, but he was watching y'all in there as you was playing with your first piece of pussy. And then you got comfortable, so you kept going to your uncle's house. and then you kept going to your uncle's house. So then now you taking your friends to your uncle's house because your uncle buys alcohol and gets the weed. And now one of them girls end up missing from the group that come over there. And your uncle always come out the back room like zipping up his pants. Yeah. That's why you can't go in there yet. They want you. I'm not going to let you go in there. They want you. It's time to assess your fault. But I've been good my entire... No, you haven't. No, you haven't. There's no... You're stuck in that good pair. No. I am neither good nor bad. I am the singular point. I am neither good nor bad. I am the singular point. And I will remain the singular point. I understood what it was to be neutral. I understood in some lifetimes when I had to be neutral, and I understood in some lives now when I had to be totally motherfucking active. I understood when I had to be on some gang shit, and I understood when I had to be on some fucking, I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna go to the monastery and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna read these fucking books and disappear from the world. I understand the aspects of my shamanic rites. So why I had to be so separated all the goddamn time. I understand these points. And all of these points to bring it to you. You got to understand those points in your life because those are the things that are holding you back. Those are the things that you don't want to have a discussion about. See, a lot of times, motherfucker, we can get to the major points inside of your timeline, but those points are a composition of the small points on your timeline that you set into motion. You butterfly effect those shits into play. So now when you coming into this current stage with yourself and you're like, my relationship is this and all of this, you got to think of how you learned how to retain a relationship. How you learned how to retain a relationship. That's why your relationship is the way that it is, because of how you learned how to retain that relationship. And the retainment of that relationship, that wasn't even the original cause. That was simply an effect coming from the original cause. You got to take this descent. You got to, the same coping mechanisms. When it comes in that, so we talk about alcoholics and wife beaters and father beaters and husband and all these beaters and shit, alcoholism and all of these aspects. Those aren't even the original causes. Those are effects. Those are effects. The shit that you dealing with on your current life cycle is a stream of effects. That's the only way you can react to it is because it's an effect. Because if it was a cause, you would respond to it. So now that we understand, oh shit, the effects of my mother started the new causes. So my not dealing with those effects, I created new causes. So now inside of the new lineage are my kids, family members, relationships. These are the new effects. These are what I'm attracting, the effects, the residuals inside of my space. That's what I'm creating now. So if I don't deal with it, these effects are now solidified within the timeline, and these become the new causes. These are going to set up a whole nother chain reaction of causes. That's what you've been seeing the entire time play out in front of you, all the way to a point to where the earth stood still. Yeah, like symptoms of the ailments. You're like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. But what was the original reason that your stomach hurt? You can say your stomach hurt, but you can be treated. But it's like for most of y'all, when y'all go to the doctor any damn way, and they say, take this medicine. And then when you start feeling better, you stop taking the medicine. The doctor's only accountable for issuing the treatment. Doctor doing what they supposed to do. The doctor's only there to give you the treatment. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Oh my God, they're trying to kill us with a shot. They're trying to manipulate our DNA. That's what the fuck you down here for anyway. You down here to manipulate your DNA any fucking way. You down here to turn on the junk DNA. Where do you think the junk DNA is at? It's in the shadow. None of that shit's in the light. None of that shit's in the light. You can go grab every bag of stones that you want and say, I got this black onyx, and this onyx is supposed to help me cut away. So I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to visualize cutting away the cords of the negativity and the toxic motherfuckers in my life. Okay. You cut away the cords, but you did not remove the roots. That's why when it comes back up, it's even stronger. Because literally you are playing a game with, okay, let's make it stronger this time. I'm cutting these roots and I'm going to get stronger. You echoed that shit into your darkness. You echoed this shit into your darkness. And they said, okay, cool. He wants something stronger. He wants a stronger drink. Give him a stronger demon. Let's see if he's going to battle this one. Let's see if she can handle this one. She said she's going to prove to her mom that the reason that their dad left and her dad was an alcoholic was because their mom didn't care. So she's going to prove, she wants to prove it. Send it to him. Send her. Go ahead, send him. Send her that angry ass drunk. Oh, she thinks that money is going to, she thinks because she struggled because they didn't have any money. All right, send her the nigga with all the money. And you just keep repeating that damn process because you're afraid to fall. That fear of falling. This week's episode of the God Hour podcast, we talked about the aspects of the power of the emotional breakdown. You scared to go through an emotional breakdown because when you look on TV and they show you Britney Spears, they show you Martin Lawrence, they show you fucking entertainers going through emotional breakdowns and losing all their money and all that shit. And you like, and it triggers you, not because of losing any money, but it takes you back to that moment where you didn't have any money. It takes you back to that moment when your mom was sitting in the room, sitting on the side of the bed, trying to whisper on the phone about them bills, and you overheard that shit. That's where it's taking you back to. Those are the correspondences that you keep seeing in the movie. I'm going to decode this movie and show them how they trying to keep us locked down. All right. You skipping over the parts. It sounds good. We say this all the time. It sounds good to intellectualize some shit. It sounds really, really good to intellectualize it, to create new points of bias so everybody can feel good. But a solution without accountability is nothing but prolonging the problem. You were a solution. You were a solution once. And you lasted for a little bit of time. Your mom wanted to bear some new light into the space. It would stop her from drinking. It would stop your dad from drinking, doing drugs, and burning out. And it worked for a couple of months. But when you got to an age to where you were able to talk and able to comprehend, that same demon or that same fear came back on your dad's shoulder. Like, now that they can see and speak, they can understand you. That means they'll see your weakness. Remember, you're not supposed to be weak. We've been there with you the entire time. It's okay. We'll take care of them. And your pop's not wanting to deal with his shit, your mom's not wanting to deal with her shit, leaves you. Because they need to feed. So now that anger needs that deity of anger now needs to feed. But the only reason that it can stay within that space is because your mother was already born of that anger. Your mom was born out of the same anger that you were born out of. So that same portal must stay open. So in order for that to go through, it must stay open. All until it came up to you. This is what we mean by when you gotta go check your track record. You really gotta go back and look at your track record and be like, shit, I didn't know my life was gonna be like this. You really gotta go look back at it. There's a big difference. You sit, I want to have the best life ever, but you ain't doing no work. I got a job and I got a job and I got some degrees and I got this and that. That is nice. But all of that shit is light. You keep grabbing for light because you're scared of the dark. You're not even scared of the dark. You're scared of the darkness. And the darkness is where you define everything. The dark is simply your purgatory. That's your entry point into your purgatory. So as long as that gateway stays open, everything can keep being fed. So as long as you stay angry, you can stay the independent person, independent one. You can stay the real nigga. You can stay the fighter. You can stay the one that doing shit for the family. You can stay inside of that definition. All because you're not facing your own shit. If every time you go do a bunch of shit, for a bunch of people, and at the end of the day, you can't sit down with yourself for at least 15 minutes, you are distracted. If you get onto your phone and you say that you want to read or you're studying or you're doing whatever you're doing and someone can call you while you're doing your work, guess what? They are a distraction. They're showing you what the fuck they are. They've always been that. They just don't become a distraction out of nowhere. Your mom don't become what you thought she was out of nowhere. You're not disgusted with your mother out of nowhere. The only reason that you discussed it with your mother is because you are doing what your mother does. But my mother go to church. I don't even go to church. And what's church is simply the body all coming together under one fundamental, one binding. Religion means to bind. So you're locked under one bind. So if you gather around, 3 people go and sit down in the middle of the living room, in your living room, and all y'all got a bottle, congratulations, you're in church. Whether you do it at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, guess what? You either in sunrise service or in nighttime service. That is your church. So the same way that your mother go get sanctified on this side and is ignoring herself and not dealing with her shit, is the same way you ain't dealing with it. That's why y'all in opposition. That's why y'all never seem to be able to come together. But the only way y'all come together is when one of y'all is avoiding some shit. When you want to prove to your mom that you can be a better mom to her. So that's why I'm going to give my mom the money. I'm going to do this for my mother. Can't believe. But at the same time, remember, I've talked about the aspect of these deities and these altars. Your mother is a deity. That is the deified, that is the statue of limitations or the deity of which all of the Damians run through. All through that same point. And you just keep moving the energy around. You moving around in the reflection of moving your energy around through the different aspects of yourself, through the different houses within inside of your body. And now you upset like, oh my God. So you mad because that's what you do every day. You just make it seem pretty. Nah, I don't do that. Yeah, you do. You do the same shit. The same way that your mom think about money, it's the same way that you think about money. The same roots to the aspects of money. The same way that my mother operated in the sense of money was the same way that I operated in the same senses when it came to money. The same way that my mom, when I was little, when I was fucking 8 years old, no, I was 10. When I was 10 years old and I had my first little route running around the neighborhood, raking leaves and shit, and I made my first $100, and my mom took that $20 from me. She taught me what a lack, she gave me my first lessons in lack mentality. Because when I reacted to it, I was reacting into a lack mentality. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I did it. So it wasn't my mother was just simply, my mother don't exist past that certain point. I've talked about it before. Once you start doing the work and start shaking the family tree, shaking yourself loose from the family tree, you start shaking that shit and the shit start happening. But you made it look so easy to cut your family. I didn't cut my family off. I had to go through each one of the trials, become my understanding why I had my pops and my father, why I had to have this. Everything was in a triangular point. I was always stuck in a trinity of some sort. My pops was the unknown agent inside of the tree, inside of my point, because that was my point to the underworld. My pops was literally the point to the underworld. Some of you don't even realize that your pops running around, multiple families, starting families here and there and everywhere, that was your point to the underworld. Your mom, when she was out there in them streets, before she got saved and was jumping around on Sundays, that's your point to the underworld. That's why it gets so heavy when you got to deal with certain wounds. Because certain people inside of your space are the gatekeepers or the original points into your underworld. That was their point. That's what the fuck they are. Once I really saw my mother, it's like, damn, my mother's a gatekeeper to my fucking underworld. Never looked at my mother the same again. That shit fucked me up for about 4 years. 4 good years. To where I was in pure rage towards my mother. For 4 years, I was in pure rage towards my mother. She activated hell. She activated the original serpent. She activated a demon that I wasn't even aware of that I was anymore. She brought that memory full circle. I'm like, whoo. The level of anger. But here's the thing about anger. True anger is calm. True anger is subtle. See, the emotions are subtle as fuck. Anger is subtle as fuck. That's why you can't control it once you're in it. Because it's subtle. It's everything that you got programmed up here, or your examples of anger that make anger manifest as the rage. And you get angry and you act out. Because there's motherfuckers right now that are angry 24/7. You never see them act out. Because they have control. They've removed everything that made them angry. I can be angry 24/7. Angry, happy, sad. I can be all of my emotions all at once. That's why my power's so fucking strong. Because none of that shit's turned off. All of the gates are open. All of the gates are open. All of my demons are in legion. They will not move unless I let them tell them to. And let's go to the show, Lucifer. None of the doors have locks on them. See, it's your traumas that put locks on those doors. Your trauma, that soul fragment, your soul loss, your fragment, that's the lock on that door. That's why when you try to, all right, cool. You're taking you're taking the lock off the door. So everything that was at bay behind that fragment that you put there to keep this space moving in this space, the batteries to keep the cells charged. That's why it got to get dark first. That's why when you start doing it, it gets dark. Because you turning off the lights. See, when you came down, you said, let there be light. So you locked everything away. Like roaches scattering when you turn the lights on. So you hid all your shit. You stuffed it all away. I'm going to go hide all my shit real quick. I'm going to have some company come over. But every time you laughed, you shook the lock. Every time you laughed, you shook the locks. Every time that you got happy, you shook the locks. Every time that you created something, it slid through. All right, cool. We got a home. He's calling us to work. They're calling us up. They're using us now. That's why they keep doing what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And now you down here mad because you fell, and you the one that initiated your fall in the first place. You came down here, your ego is grace. I want you to understand, your ego is grace. Your ego is grace. Whenever you think about what in the Christian faith, our people that fell from grace. Your ego is grace in the Christian faith. That just came down. Because you'll go plead to Jesus. You'll go plead to an external aspect for forgiveness. So if I plead to an external aspect for forgiveness, I'm going to go blame an internal aspect for my fall. In the same sense. See, they gave you the aspects of it externalized. That's why when you start taking information, when you become conscious or you're aware, that's why you want to be a king so bad or a queen so bad. Because it is an external aspect that you can say, I'm a god. It's still outside of yourself. But you can't even own you're a god. Okay. You're a god. Let's shake the subconscious. Let me shake the dust off the throne for you real quick, boss. Let me shake the dust off your throne. All right, you go sit on your throne now. You're a god. Own all this shit. That's why your life start going to shit. The moment that you want to yell out that, I am a divine being. All right. You do that. Go ahead. You shook that shit loose and that shit started falling back down. So now all of your angels of light, all of your angels, all of your fallen angels and your angels of light started falling back down and creating your frame for you to now live in. All right. Now you got a whole new frame. Come to us and we're going to baptize you and give you a whole new body. You think the baptism was? This is your new body. We don't cleanse the outside. Then we going to work. We don't cleanse the outside. So now you clean. Don't worry. Everything's covered in the blood. Blood is information. Blood is information. I finalized that after watching the Dracula shit on Netflix. Blood is information. Your blood comes from your bones. That's why they say the blood of your bones. You never hear them say bloody. They always say the blood of your bones. All that shit's locked up in there, and you like, okay, I'm clean now. I'm forgiven. They've forgiven me. Who is they? Who is they that who is forgiving you? It sounds nice because it makes you feel good. Exactly, the marrow. Who is they that forgave you? My God forgave me. Okay. Your God forgave you. But have you forgiven yourself? I don't need to because my God knows my heart. The entire time you talking about your damn self. But without accountability, a solution without accountability is prolonging the problem. The same way when you want to get into magic, ooh, I'm going to do magic. I want to do magic now. Okay. What deity am I going to work with? What principle of myself am I going to work with? They have a lower aspect and a higher aspect. All deities have a lower and a higher aspect. They have the lower selves and the higher selves in representation of you. That's why when you work with the deities, okay, cool. You just gave your demons a new leader. Oh, that's who we following now? All right, cool. That's our conduit. That's our conduit into the world. Bet. Good. Thank you. That's why you start getting a lot of good shit in the beginning. Because it's the trick. It's to lock you in. It's to keep you earthbound. That's why you sitting there. That's why the only thing you can think about is a car. The only thing you think about is a crib. The only thing you think about is a new girlfriend, new boyfriend, relationship. You only thinking about the lower earthbound shit. But if you said, I would like the opportunity, this is where gratitude comes in. This is where the humility comes in. That's where the power of the emotional breakdown comes in. Because that's when you got to be honest with you. That's when you start being honest with yourself. I know I'm not. I knew I wasn't shit. I knew I wasn't shit in my past lives. I knew I wasn't. I knew I was the opposition in my past lives. I knew I was. I knew I was. I knew I was the opposition. I knew I was always somebody's pain because that's where I crawled out of. I was a hunter once. I was a hellspawn. I never could be Batman because I was not afraid to kill. See, that's the problem with a lot of y'all in the rules. You won't kill. You won't kill. So you need your emotions to do it for you. You won't kill, so you let your emotions do it for you. That's why the demons have a field day with your ass. Because you won't kill. You won't fight. You won't go to battle. You won't go in there. Your ego won't let you do it. Your ego won't let you go in there and have that fight. Even a fight that you get into, that ain't even you fighting. Because after you do it, what happens immediately after you have a fight? You feel some type of way. You're emotional. You sad. You trying to make it makes you sit there and repeat that same shit 15 motherfucking times with yourself to try to make that. Yeah, but they got to understand you ain't gonna try to play me or fight me. You only trying to convince yourself because real, because us real ninja looking motherfuckers slide in, slide back out. You don't even know the fuck we were there. We slide in, we slid out. You don't even know the fuck we was there. See the lower level demons? They love the lower level music. They love the lower level, let's shoot everybody up and kill everybody. They love that shit. Us higher levels, not so much. It causes too much ruckus. It's not organized enough. Yeah. There's the higher level ones that are organized as shit, and then there's the motherfuckers that are the minuscule. That's what you get stuck in. You stuck with minuscule demons. You ain't even got to the big boys yet. You ain't got to the big boys and girls yet. You ain't got to the Bowsers and the King Coopers and you ain't got to the big boys yet. You ain't got to the riots and the carnages. Y'all still dealing with Venoms. Y'all still dealing with the little bitty ones. The offsprings. You dealing with offsprings. You dealing with the impure ones. You're dealing with the ones that have been here for a long ass. You're dealing with the ones that got stuck in that light. They got stuck in that light and been battling ever since. Those are the ones that got your emotions on lock. Those are the ones that got your anger and all. They got you all in the lower degrees of anger. Because once you understand, when Bobby Hemmett said you got to get angry, he wasn't talking about the angry on the lower degree that motherfuckers talking about on the human level. He was talking about the point of anger that goes into the point of transmutation. Oh. So when we talking about anger, you ain't even on the same level. When we talking about anger, you talking about minuscule, petty ass anger, where you get angry for a couple of seconds and then some chick can walk by and say, "Hey, nigga, you want some head?" and you ain't angry no more. We talking about a point of anger that is the true aspects of that chaos. We talking about that true anger. See, I've went through the cycles of the true anger as that warrior. Remember, I told you, anger, the emotion is subtle. Anger is subtle. Anger is subtle. You saying that I'm horny as hell. No, you're not. You just ready to, you need a re-up on suppressing some shit. Cause that sexual energy is subtle. It caresses you. So you're afraid to be caressed by anger. Being caressed by anger is like being caressed by the sweetest love. Being caressed by anger is like being caressed by love. That's why your mom stayed with your dad for so long. That's why chicks out here, right? That's why you got chicks out here right now that don't know, that think that that's the way love is. What, you ain't gonna yell at me? You ain't gonna check on me? You ain't gonna get mad if I go out? Okay, that's what they were embraced and loved in. That was their love. That was their love. Mm-hmm. Not truly backwards. It's just that we see them. What we port emotions out through. When you're saying, I've broken this down before. When you say that you're angry, you're not really angry because you can't even define the anger. Someone that is truly angry somebody that is truly mad can define why they are truly mad. A mad scientist can define why he is really mad. The simple aspects of when you're being in anger is in a sense of hypervigilance. I'm so hyperly vigilant behind this one aspect of myself. Mm-hmm. So as long as you down here, your whole perspective becomes the perspective is jaded because of what you were taught at first. See, that became your love. So you seeing your mom poop knocked in between the washer and the dryer, that's what you took in as love. Because your mom stayed. So you're saying it's love. So now when you see that definition keep going on with a fight, you'll fight for love. So you start saying you'll fight for love and all of these bullshit. That's what it's triggering. It's triggering that memory. Once you understand it, then you're like, oh, that's what I need to work on. See, but you got to understand how it goes, connects. Because you're trying to fight against this, and that's what you're creating. That's why you can watch a movie and get upset if a nigga on the T screen if a nigga on the screen hit a woman. But if another person comes in and hits you with some rhyme and reason, well, I mean, some women deserve to get knocked in between the washer and the dryer the way they be acting. Who's right and who's wrong? Who's right and who's wrong? I'm only saying that because I had that thought process. A woman should never hit a man. A man should never hit a woman. Until I started understanding energy. They sitting inside of that seat. You got to accept everything that come in that seat. You got to accept everything that come into that seat. They incarnated down here in that feminine body, but they got some masculine wounds they got to deal with. That's why they so compelled to compete. You step in that ring, you got to accept it. Me on a personal note, like, why the fuck would I need to do that? I'll just walk the fuck away. But I've been through the work. You're not going to see me. You can't come to, I've talked about it before. You can't come to me and be like, do you put motherfuckers in jars? Because I'll say yes. I will put you in a jar really, really fucking quick. I ain't got to, but I can. I can just simply say that. And that thought can be rattling somebody's mind. And they're now locked into a jar and I didn't have to do anything. See, there's levels to your shit. See, that lower level anger, it has you looking for a physical point to project it. The higher levels of anger don't need anything. They're just simply there. They just simply act. The higher levels of anger are actually, they're now streamed, they're now crossed. There's that line. Remember I told you that little line? That imaginary line that we can all look at. This is where the light and the dark blend. All right here. See, as long as you're inside purgatory, You want to live on this little line. That's your morals. This little moral line of compass. You want to live right here. And it needs to have a chart, so it has to have an up and a down. So it has to have the head and it has to have the root. See how you created the cross? That's why every time that you come to the crossroads, right here in the little center point, you come see one of us at the crossroads. But you got to understand, when we at the crossroads, it's different. You're at the crossroads sitting down looking like this, straight ahead. When we're at the crossroads, we're up above, up here. Or we're down here. We can see every angle of the cube. We see all of the possibilities. We're not to speak to you about the possibilities, but we can see the multiple possibilities. That's how we can create the methods and guide you and give you certain information. Because that's how we tapped into that source, to the spirit. That's how I can say, hey, your grandmother said this. Your grandmother said go sit down and have a talk with her for a little bit. She's free now and she wants to get some shit off of her chest so she can move forward. But you'll ask that dumb question. Did my grandmother love my granddad? Don't ask me no dumbass question like that, because I will smack the shit out of you. But you got to understand this process. That afterlife. You cannot step into the afterlife. The duat. The ethers. The astral plane. If you have not taken any president there. And the only way that you taken president in the astral plane, the duat, the ethers, is that you got to go down into the roots first. Because they don't know you up there. Because they don't know you down here. That's why you stuck in between trying to make all this shit work. You try to make your whole life work. You trying to align yourself with shit. They don't know your ass. So you sitting there mad and upset at people. Oh my God. Why my life can't be like theirs? You sure you want your life like theirs? Because they did some things that are you willing to do? See, that was one thing that I had to understand. That was a big thing. That was a big problem for me. That was a big problem for me. I did not want to understand that others were doing shit that was basically below my pay grade. The reason most motherfuckers can do a lot of things that they're doing, and it's not based on your value is higher. You got to understand that it's not on your pay grade. You're not meant to get it at that point. You can get what they have, but it will not be from that point. I don't understand. You can, because in order for you to get it at that point that they're at, you must go below that point to rise to that level. You got to fall. Everything requires a fall. Everything requires that fall. How would you like to fall? Would you like to fall head first? Or are you ready to fall with your feet on the ground? Because some of y'all falling with your head first, and then y'all got concussions, and then that's when you start saying some shit that don't make no sense. Some of your some of them earlier, some of the favorite motherfuckers in the conscious community have bumped their head because they fell head first, and they still living in that concussion. Your fall gave you ain't got no memory. That's why you clean everything and everything looks so pretty and shiny. Everything that look really, really good and make you feel good, that's why you go for it. Because you ain't got no memory of ever having it. The only reason that you can connect to that shit is because you've had it before. You've done it before. You've done it. You've done it. You've done it. That's why it can be that's why it becomes so easily attainable. Because you've done it before. You've had it before. And that is the trick of the illusion of your demons, of your darkness. Just keep giving them the same shit. Give him the same bitch. Just make her skin dark. Give him the same bitch. Just give her a smaller waist. Give him the same bitch. Just cut her hair. Give her the same nigga. Make that nigga light skinned. She still ain't learned a lesson about trying to stay in the light and trying to be loved for her external. Keep giving her light skinned niggas. She's still running away. He's still running away. He's still trying to stay in the light and stray all sanctified. Keep sending him the dark skinned bitches. He don't like the dark skinned girls. Keep sending him the dark skinned girls. Keep sending him the dark skinned girls. Keep letting the light skinned girls break his heart and keep giving the dark skinned girls that actually care about his ass. Keep playing that out for him. Let's see how long he'll play that out. And that's what you're doing to your damn self. Keep sending me. This is what you keep. These are the things that you keep telling yourself when you're not dealing with these aspects of yourself. Every time that you ain't doing that, dealing with that shit on that internal shit, that's what you keep asking for outside of yourself. Send me a good nigga. Said you pay the right price for a good nigga. What it looks like, she's that exceptional nigga. And you keep paying that same emotional price. You keep getting your heart broken. You keep getting your heart broken, keep getting mad, keep getting upset with these chicks. That nigga keep breaking your goddamn heart. All because the shit that happened to you when you was 8 years old by your stepfather, you ain't still dealt with. Because you still trying to see what your mom saw in your stepfather. You still trying to see what your sisters and your brothers saw in your stepfather. So as long as you trying to see it, you keep making the invitations inside your life to accept you for some shit. Then that shit switch over because every once in a while, the spirit say, send her somebody good. The spirit say, send him somebody good. Let's see if he's ready to move forward. Let's see if she's ready to move forward. And that's when all those insecurities come up, all those wounds come up. And instead of facing them, since you're used to one train of thought, keep doing the same shit. But here's the trippy part. Now, instead of them doing it, you do it. Now you do it. Now you the one running around. You may not be cheating on them per se. You're not cheating on them with another dude per se. But when it comes time to really sharing those vulnerable points of those emotions, you can't share it with them because you still got to go share it with the demons. Them dark motherfuckers, them no good loudmouth ass friends you got. That's who you go share that information with, the emotions with. But I've told you before with the aspects of the higher aptitudes of sex, sacred energy exchange, the understanding the aspects of the exchange of energy. So every time you go over there and perform this, we gonna drink and we gonna have a party. We gonna talk about our men and all this other shit and emotions and shit. And you, congratulations, you just went over and had an orgy. Just went and had an orgy with your homegirls. Picked up all that. Y'all just created a whole new catalyst for yourself. And you go back into your space. Now you don't look the same. Whether they conscious or aware or not, now you don't look the same. Now you don't taste the same. Finger licking good. You don't taste the same. That weight got real heavy. It made you look different. So now you acting out. See, even the good niggas don't want to act right. See how you get stuck? Because you felt the same entitlement that your mother was acting through, the same Damien of entitlement that your mother acted through, that got your stepfather, that got your father, same shit you acting through. You still reliving that whole, you still reliving that in your head right now. I am. You are. It's okay. It's all right. It's time to deal with it. You still got that playing in your head. Still got that playing up in your mind. Still playing up in them curls. Still playing up there. You still up here. As long as you up here, the body falls. You gotta listen to your body. You keep listening to your mind. You keep allowing everything to come in through your mind and change your mind. Your subconscious don't believe you. Your emotional credit score is like shit. Let's explain the subconscious real quick. Subconscious is a suggestion box that literally records everything. So if in your life you say to yourself something simple, that I want to change my life. This is what we always talk about, writing it down, write a petition, real paper, real pencil. Erykah Badu told us that. Real paper, real pencil, and you write that shit down because you got to reprogram your subconscious. See, the aspect of you really doing this internal work, these mantras, everything that you're speaking, is to start reprogramming the underworld. You're taking the reign back over the underworld. You got to believe it yourself before you even can step into that space. You got to be equipped with the right pieces and the right tools before you even get inside of that space. That's why you can't go there. That's why they created the light version of a therapist. That's why they created the light version of a therapist. The Sigmund Freud that's why they created the other half of it. Because that was based on light. Bring it to the light and we can deal with it. Okay. Keep pulling it up. Pull it up. Go ahead, pull it up. Now it's to the surface. And now don't nobody know what the fuck's wrong with your ass. I've had several clients be like, I've had therapists tell me that they can't help me. I can never be happy. It's because they don't go into the darkness. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars going to people to heal me, and they say they can't heal me because they can't go into the darkness. They need you to go in that bitch. They need you to get real, real dark. They need you to get in that space. This is when you start understanding, even when you think about certain relationships where you kept getting drained with your energy, that was their role. See, they were in that was their role. But don't look at it as bad. Look at it as, if I'm battling with myself, or if I'm not facing the battles with myself, and I am a warrior, that means I need to train to be a warrior. I must train as a warrior trains. So that means that string of bad relationships was teaching me how to become a warrior and face my shit. But because I didn't want to be the warrior or accept my title, accept what I truly was, I'm still stuck on where I'm at and not what I are. I just kept jumping from relationship to relationship. Or you just kept jumping from job to job to job. You never gave yourself that space in between. Get that space in between. That was your entry back. That's another aspect of your entry back into your purgatory. But see, you don't want to go in there. You want to go from, I went to therapy and I drank my pain away, to now you want to be conscious with your, so now you want to go into consciousness. So now you psychedelic in it away, and I'm doing moon ritual, you doing candle rituals and shit. You don't know what the fuck you doing. You just gonna go light the damn candle. You ain't cleanse your goddamn space. You thought, okay, I read this book, it said I needed sage, but you don't even know if your lineage, your family, your people even use sage or even use that kind of sage. So you in there, I got the white sage. Why this white sage ain't working? Because your grandmother was into the dark practice. So she had the black sage, as an example. She had the black sage, or she had the dragon blood sage, and that's what she used. But you want to be all light and shit. I'm gonna use this white sage in my space. It says on the package that it cleanses. It says on the package that it cleanses. Does it cleanse your shit? You ain't open to that level yet. You ain't open to that level yet. You want to go use some. I went and got this blue sage because that shit was like $40. All right. Ma'am, you could have went in your backyard and got a pine cone and lit that bitch on fire and sat it on a fucking plate, lit a pine cone on fucking fire, put some holy oil over a fucking pine cone and sat it in the middle of your goddamn living room and lit that bitch on fire and watched that smoke clear everything the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Open up all your windows and watch that clear everything the fuck out. But you want to follow the fundamental, you want to follow the, because some motherfucker told you, because a motherfucker came and told you some bullshit. And then you got to sit in front of me and you ain't used to a motherfucker named Lucifer telling you some shit. Oh my God, that nigga said his name is Lucifer. Yeah, but the first name's Papa. Lucifer's my feminine aspect. Oh my God, I can't get past the fact that your name is Lucifer. And please don't be one of the ones that want to back and forth. Because every once in a while, I do have time. And being under that Aquarian aspect, the aspect of the both extremes, that's my sun. When I have time, I have time. I have so much time. And I can speak very, very eloquently and use all the nice words and the nice colloquial, all the nice little words and shit, put it all together real nice and make you think about it. Or I can go over to this other side where we into that, we about the gang life. So I can pick a side. Remember, I came out the womb like this. I can pick a side. I can choose which legion I would like to use. Which side would I like to use? I can pick which side. I'm not stuck on, I'm a part of the left-handed path or I'm a part of the right-handed path. I went through the process of understanding that the left hand can use everything of the right hand. It's the right hand that is blind. The right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. But if you read the rest of it, it says the left hand can pull from the right hand. See, I'm ambidextrous. See, all of this shit's customized to you, but you must understand these aspects of you. I'm ambidextrous. I can use both hands. I can turn this hand into a receiver. I can turn this hand into the receiver. I'd much rather use this hand as a receiver because I got used to it rather than use this left hand as a receiver. But I can use them both as the receivers. I can turn them both on and pull shit in, or I can turn them both and push it out. But that's a part of that process. I went through the fall to do that. I had to scrape my hands on many, many, many walls climbing up shit to be able to do that. That's that. When I talk about that LLC mentality, and we get deep into the LLC mentality and moving through that space and being able to create, you plugged into the, you want to be plugged in, you plugged in. You are the glitch inside of that matrix. You are plugged in, but you mad you don't want to use it. I want to use the old ways. I want to use the old ways because, okay, there's nothing wrong with learning the old ways. But the old ways are just that. The old ways are foundations. Eventually, you're going to have to step into this century. You want to go back to, let's go back to commit. Let's go back to wearing loin. Let's go back to wearing wraps and let's go back to wearing the shit that, no, nigga, I don't, no. I'd rather go put on a suit. My last name is Samdei for a reason. I'd rather go put on a suit. I'd rather put on some nice, I'd like to get dressed for funerals. I like to get dressed for deaths. I like to get dressed for funerals. Don't you like to get dressed for funerals? I like to get dressed for funerals. I like to be dressed up. I like to look my best. Damn, fuck. Brother, you supposed to be wearing kitty cloth. No, the fuck I'm not. Because I'm not from there. I'm not over there. My lineage wasn't over there. If I'm wearing anything back from that time, you would see me in a fucking kimono. Because that's where my lineage is at. See, all of this shit is custom to you, but you got to understand your fall. Everybody want to say they from Africa. No. Yes, you can root back to Africa. Yes, you can root back to Africa. But where did your tribe begin? What line of your lineage did you begin in? See, everybody want to go all the way back or go all the way forward, but nobody wants to go to their middle point. And that's why motherfuckers keep getting fucked up, because they do not want to go to their middle point. They don't want to sit here in this space like this and start cowering and shit and vibrating and shit. You want to, I'm vibrating, okay, I'm gonna move. No, sit there, nigga. Remember, the shit calm. The moment that you start vibrating, that's not the moment that you move. You sit there through the vibration. That's why you got 15, that's why you got 20 people on your Facebook page right now talking about they vibrating. Right now, go sit back in it. I'm vibrating. I'm getting all types of downloads. I'm about to go live in a couple seconds. I'm going to tell you what they said. Our ancestors said we should be going to war with the white man. I done been to more wars with other tribes than before even getting to one white man. I done been to war with multiple tribes before I even fought any white man, white people. They like always the fuck. I remember going through the beginning, I was like, yo, like, so we supposed to be fighting white men and shit? Nigga, my ancestors looking at me like, nigga, shut up. Nigga, they were like, nigga, shut up. We don't do that. I was like, oh. But like everybody that came down was talking about like, why? I fought more tribes. Remember, you gotta remember, we fought in tribes in Africa, different tribes fought each other for da 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 da. You thought that shit was because of the white man? The white man had us fighting to get to us, brother. Nah, nigga. Because you was on some other shit that we weren't on. You weren't upholding it. You weren't upholding some shit. That's why when you lost, we took some of your people and they had to work off their debts with us. But since motherfuckers got greedy when we started doing that with our people, hey, you are now indentured servant to them. Go work off your debt. But since them motherfuckers over there got greedy and started raising up those fucking tariffs and keeping them locked into that bondage, and they dying over there, now that spirit, ooh, is now vengeful. Congratulations. Those are oh my God, those are the first demons in my family? Yes, those are the first demons inside of your family. Your mother's mother, grandmother, all the way back into the ancient times was a payment due to a lost battle between tribes. And then she had her body look real right. So they did some shit to her over there. And then that shit carried on. See, you gotta stop getting stuck at slavery. Everything you want to lead back to slavery, where the white man was introduced, or when you created this aspect. You want to start here. You want to start here. That way you don't take any accountability what your family did. You don't want to take that original accountability for what the first tribes did. So when you listen to the Hebrew Israelites talking about motherfuckers being cursed and going against the tribes and shit, they're right. They're right. They're on to a point, but they haven't accepted it yet. See, everybody gets stuck at a point to where they don't have to take accountability. Remember, I'm going to keep saying that. A solution without accountability is a prolong of the problem. That's all that it is. It's a prolong to the problem. See, the problem with a lot of that shit, the shit that's going on in conscious community, motherfucker keep saying it was the white man's fault, because without accountability, it prolongs the problem. Problems sell treatments. Problems can sell hope. I can sell treatments. I can sell hope. I can sell you some shit as long as there's a problem. I can sell you whatever I want to sell you as long as there's a problem. If there's no problem, then there's no treatment, then there's no pay. Then I can't eat, then I can't survive. Then I got to face my own shit. Then I got to go back down into that hole, and I got to go deal with the motherfuckers that I made these deals with. Are you willing to sacrifice a birth to end a curse? How deep do you really want to go? How much do you want to expunge in? How deep do you really want to go with yourself? You want to keep being, I want to be violent. Nigga, that ain't even your damn nature. The divine masculine is not violent at all. Very direct. It can go there, but it's not violent. Now, the mother aspect, the dark feminine aspect, it's a different story. It's very vengeful, very dark. It's the emotion base. It's the rage. It guides what is built in anger. So when I say that, what I mean by this is the most angry nigga at his core is a bitch. The most angry of niggas at their core, they're scared to be seen as the bitch that they are. I don't even like saying bitch because bitch rejects the witch. They're afraid to show that cowardice or that weakness. See, they still holding on to that generational scar of the first fight that was not had. They're still holding on to that generational scar of the first fight that they did not fight. And that shit is magnified every which way in their life. From their uncle, the fragments of the original sin or the lack of knowledge or the lack of knowing or the lack of light to move in that darkness is what's been fragmented. So that first tribe back in the day that lost their battle and or that had to go make their payments, sent over the most sickly of motherfuckers, made that deal with talk to the shaman, the witch doctor, the shaman. Hey, make these bitches sick. Make them bring up their unthirstable thirst. See, this magic shit go all the way back, and it's been being used all the way back. We are the only ones with access to that shit. We're the only ones with access to that true aspects of that power. You had to come to us first. See, that's the ownership. Are you willing to take that level of ownership with your shit? Because in order to unlock and use all of it, you must own every aspect that happened on the table. You just can't be like, well, we were Haitians and we fought against the French and we became the first. Okay. You love their history more than you like yours. You like their history more than you like yours. You like what they wrote down in the book more than you like yours because it can keep you as a victim. But if you go back and read Muhammad's book about the creation of the white man, when they were created, how they were created, why they were created, was a failed experiment, then you got to take ownership of that. Yo, fuck up. You got to take ownership of your original fuck ups. Your track record. See, the surface level shit is what you did with your baby father, what you did with your baby mama, husband, wife, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever it was. That's surface level. But all of that goes to a root, to an original point. So if you ain't ready to deal with that original point, then you're not doing the work. You're just doing the work. make an announcement every 3 weeks that I'm in the mid stages of my shadow work. I'm almost done. I'm ready to, and then you gonna talk about generational curses and shit. Then all of a sudden, now you sit here and say, I'm ready to clear these generational curses and generational wealth, and I'm trying to bring this shit up. Okay, cool. Now you made the new announcement. Just like the church lady at the church. We gonna give out the announcements. You go stand in the pits of Tartarus, and you go stand at the little platform, and you sit there and say, I'm ready to clear out all curses. And you yell it out. You tell them all that shit. All right, they say they're ready for some big boy shit. Because them lesser demons, they needed them gone anyway. They were expendable. Now you coming into the big boy shit. Now you facing the original cause. Now you in that relationship with old buddy or old girl, and they just don't seem to want to change. And you facing them, and you trying to use all of the tactics that you learned. You trying to help them trying to do all this shit with them, and they don't want to change. That's the point of you facing yourself. That's that true point of you facing yourself. Are you willing to become that? Because that's what you've been avoiding the entire time. The points of where you became it. That's why whenever you get into a relationship and that shit carries over because you ain't facing that shit, and then now you didn't met the fucking final boss. Oh my god, I thought I would. No, 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 no. No. That's not how it works. That's not how it's gonna work here. You're shifting that shit. You're changing the direction. And the only way to change the direction is to first descend. To ascend without first going into the darkness is the escape. So every time that you escape or try to escape, and you are a fucking beacon or a magnet, you pull them out with you. They work with you. They play with you. They dance with you. They laugh with you. They make you feel joy. They make you feel joy and happiness and peace. They keep you blinded to the fact of where you really are. You start getting all these nice things in your life, but all of those things come with a payment. So now when the relationship starts going to shit, that's the payment. When the job starts going to shit, that's the payment. When your mama end up in the hospital, that's the payment. When your homegirl baby end up not making it, that's the payment. Because you still making deals instead of dissolving contracts. You still making these deals instead of dissolving the contract. And then you wondering why your life is where it's at. You keep wondering why it gets harder and harder and harder. Instead of there's a difference between your life getting harder because you're going higher up. Because now you're in a different altitude and your life getting rough. See, you got to understand the difference between getting harder and getting rough. Getting harder means you're getting stronger. Getting rough, that means you ain't catching that lesson. We got to keep rewriting this piece of paper out. 1 second. See, you got to understand the difference between that shit getting harder and that shit getting rougher. See, I didn't understand the difference between the shit getting harder and the shit getting rougher. See, I was used to the definition of what I said my life was hard, but my shit was just rough because my shit was disorganized. My thoughts were still disorganized. My mind was not in sync. My heart was not in sync. My chakras, my energy systems were not in balance. So my life was getting more and more rough. See, at first, when you start going into the layers of shit and the shit get chaotic, you shaking shit, of course it's gonna be rough. But the point of you getting into transmutation is the shit gets harder for you to try to maintain lesser shit of yourself. See, you get stuck in the shit being trying to hold on to the lesser aspects of yourself. Because as you rise, you need less. So you get stuck on, if you think about inverted, you think down here in the lower aspect of yourself, you think you need more. In the higher aspects, you realize you need less. So when shit start getting harder, it's because you're shedding the lesser aspects of yourself. You're no longer sitting in the points of the lesser aspects of yourself. That's why when you keep going back into those spaces that are of the lesser points of yourself, you keep getting the same damn result. There's always a fight. There's always something wrong with them. They always need money. They always need some shit. And guess what? It's because you still, in some point of shape, in some shape, form, or fashion, that is still a part of your creed. That is still a part of your statement. That is still a part of you. You haven't dealt with that part yet. That's the only way it still has access. But I want my life to be better. You have to let go of some shit. I just want a better life. I want to give my kids what I never had. What did you never have? We didn't have toys, and we didn't have shoes, and we didn't have clothes, and we didn't have a bed. Nah, you didn't have emotional intelligence. You weren't taught coping mechanisms. That's what you never had. You were not taught the coping mechanisms. So in this cycle with yourself, the reason that you now have your children is to teach them the coping mechanisms that your parents did not have. Let's go further back to the same coping mechanisms that your grandparents didn't have. They didn't have access to. This is what I mean by merging with the new aspects of the new century. I mean by doing the merge, understanding those aspects. You must evolve. You must evolve. You must shift. But you got to take the fall first. You got to, I got to dive in it. You got to dive first. You got to dive before you rise. How else do you know? How else do you know how deep you can go until you take that dip? But yeah. Y'all know, as always, I'm desiring y'all to be the motherfucking best. You got one or two choices. No, go away. You got one or two choices. You got no choice. What are you gonna do with it? You can't keep running. You keep running, but you don't keep running back to the same shit because you're stuck in that circle. Mm-mm. You done ran out the house 9 times in the last month. You done ran out the house 9 times in the last month to go help some people that only keep doing the same shit. All because when you're not doing that, you're not facing your own shit. But I don't want to face my own shit. Say that then. Own it. Whatever it is, I'm always going to tell you to own the shit. You don't want to face your shit? Own and say you don't want to face your own shit. It will make your life a lot simpler to be fed upon. Because the more you fight, the more tender your meat becomes for them to feed into anyway. But yeah, I'm going to do a reading because I was just told to do a reading. This is the question and answer period. For the first timers, question and answer period. Also doing readings by donation. All questions are answers and all questions are answers and all questions. All questions are answers and all answers are questions. Don't have to be necessarily about this topic. It can be about anything that's on top of your mind. So I'm going to do a nice little collective real quick for the ones in attendance and the ones that will watch this video later on. You know somebody that needs that's real scary with their not understanding aspects of themselves, send them the link. I haven't said that in a long ass time. Funny ass shit. I haven't said it in a long ass time. If you know somebody, you doing your work, you doing your healing, you cleansing yourself, you shedding your shit, and you got people around you that keep saying, where do I start and where do I begin? And I don't know, and I'm scared and shit, and I don't know who to. This is the best way to protect your energy and understanding and owning your shit. You gotta own and be like, you gotta own and say to yourself, like, I am not at a point to where I can help you, but I have some resources that can. That's when you gladly click, copy the link, send them the link. One of two things will happen. They're either going to be like, oh my God, you want some other shit? I can't fuck with you. Or they're going to be like, thank you for sending me that link. Either way, you going to be good. Either way, you good. See how you cleared the space that fast? You don't have to exert that much energy. See, that's the thing this is another thing you got to understand when you're doing your work. You got to be honest with yourself to a point to when you're sitting there saying, like, this person, I love them. I have love for them. I'm learning. I have an understanding of what they're going through, but the shit that I'm going through, the shit that I'm working on, it requires solitude. It requires me to be myself. It requires me to really step away from these distractions, because until you do this, all you gonna keep doing is keep going down the same damn shit, because you gonna keep taking all of that new energy. When you calling all your energy back to you, you clearing it, you transmuting it, you going through your process, you done done the ritual, you done the bath. It does you no good to do any of that if you just gonna go right back over into that house. It does you no good if you, I'm about to go back over there to that house. All right, why? You just said that them motherfuckers over there are the reason you always getting in the shit. You just said that them motherfuckers over there are the reason that you always feeling drained. You just said it. So why would you keep going back into that space? See, this is what I mean by being honest with yourself. This is what I mean by you being honest with yourself. If you know that there is an individual inside of your space, individuals, collectives, whatever, inside of your space, or the people that you're dealing with, that they are draining, because you got to stay in that state of hypervigilance. You got to stay in that sense of hyper addiction. You got to stay in that sense of hypersexualized, hyper projection. You got to stay in that state. You got to stay. It's time to clear that shit out. It's time to be like, you know what? Nah, I can't fuck with you right now. Maybe somewhere down the line. But right now, where I'm at, I posted a video on my Facebook. The funniest Asian nigga I know. The nigga never graduated high school. He always talk about money, but he was like, apply this to your life and it changes everything inside of your space. I've also made a video about this. It's on my TikTok. Inside your space, the reason that a lot of people you getting stuck in stagnant energy is because everybody in your space is on your pay grade. Everybody in your space is on your pay grade. They on your pay scale. They on your emotional rhythm. The only way that you actually going to actually start expanding yourself, exposing yourself so you can actually become vulnerable. See, that fear of you becoming, that degree of you exposing yourself and that fear of becoming exposure, that's what stops you from stepping into the degrees of vulnerability. So you need motherfuckers around you that don't talk. If you got a bunch of, if everybody around you talk about problems or talk about people, which are problems, you need to be around people that talk about events. See, you got to take steps. You got to be around people that talk about events. So if motherfuckers around you talking about problems, man problems, woman problems, health problems and shit of that nature, then you need to be around people that talk about events that deal with relationship issues, health issues, issues of that nature. Because now once you're around people that are around those events, now your mind starts thinking, now your subconscious starts programming to the event. So every time that you hear that, you're like, I need to go to I got to look up these events, that class, that healing regimen. So it now puts you into the space of, oh shit, now you become vulnerable. Now you're exposed to this new space. So now your mind now starts to think, I did one snap. Now your mind starts to think and your subconscious starts to reprogram itself. So now you're going into that new space. As above, so below. So now when you in that new event and you start learning this new shit in your space, and you start looking down below you at the people and you start seeing them for what they really are. So now this is that separation process. So now you've integrated yourself into that next space. This is an example of we going through your steps, going into that next space. So now everybody talking about events and event this and event that. Now that's going to become tiring because you tired of motherfuckers always talking about we got to go to this event and this event. Yo, when we going to do this? Because now your subconscious is reprogrammed. Now you're looking for something different. See, this is how you start using that hypervigilance and start using that hypersexual nature. And you start going into these higher aspects of self because now you're releasing control. You're becoming the authority inside of your life. So now in that same space, now you go to people that got different ideas. Now people got ideas. That means they got different inceptions with themselves. So now you're around people that are talking about ideas. It exposes you to start in your creativity. See, now you integrate. Now you have separated from the events. Now you inside of the ideas. The ideas is the creativity. This is you clearing your mind, clearing your space. That's when you start coming around. That's when you now working one-on-one with your guide. Now you got a guide that's one-on-one with you. You got a guide. You got somebody that's inside of your space that's, yo, hey, this, and this. I'm gonna provide you this method. This method is based on your intentions. You gotta make sure you cleanse this shit and everything to that level, but you're doing it into that space. So now you're in that higher tier. See, but first you had to understand where you descended from. But now I'm about to do that collective reading real quick. Again, this is the question and answer period. While I'm shuffling up this deck, if you have any questions, do not have to be about the topics that we discussed tonight. It can be anything that came to your mind, any thoughts that came to your mind while you was in here. Drop them in the comments while I run this damn reading real quick. I'm thirsty as shit. As always, everything from readings, consultations, any other spiritual services, inbox me. We can start that dialogue. First card to be pulled. Ooh, pretty. First card to be pulled on this full second day of the full moon. The moon. The moon. The moon. The moon. The ruler of flux and reflux. The aspects of investing into the changes. The aspects of do my demons ever fight me in the astral? No. Mine? Nah. Remnants of them can be up there. But you got to remember, the astral is the aspects of your internal self. So if you got in fight from demons or things coming and fighting you inside of your internal space, you got to realize that you got to sit there with that point of that feeling to what it was and see like, what the fuck is it fighting? What am I fighting for? Like, what is it? Like, what is it? What am I fighting with? Because every time there is a conflict, every time there's a conflict in the astral, the dream realm, the deeper realms, those deeper realms inside of yourself, is acknowledging a conflict, is bringing a conflict to the surface. Depending on the fight, if you are getting your ass beat the fuck down, for example, that means there is something that you are resisting against. If you are winning the fight, there is still something that you're trying to hold on to. See, the key is once you get into that space with your Damians, and they're now they're back under the original control, there won't be a fight. They're not going to fight you. They're only going to fight you whenever you're close or whenever you're based on whether you're close or you're straying away. That's the only time that they don't come up, but like, hey, you want to come over here? They're only going to fight you when you're close to getting out. They're going to offer you some nice shit whenever you get to the point, like they don't start offering you some nice shit. That's when you, somewhere in your life, you've been distracted somewhere. It represents the aspects of that flux and that reflux. Which represents the aspects of the flux and the reflux. Next card pulling off. We're looking at the Four of Cups. It's time to sit in it. Every time, if y'all familiar, when I pull fours, it's time to sit in it. You looking at the change in your life and that hastiness come up. Ooh, it's a change. Ooh, it's something gonna be. Ooh. Sit in it. Allow yourself to sit in that space. Allow yourself to be covered by it. Allow yourself to get familiar with it. Allow yourself to become intimate with it. Allow yourself to become open inside of that space. Allow yourself to let it out. Let it out. The cups represent letting that flow, allowing it to come out, allowing it to come to the surface, allowing it to push you out of your comfort zone, allowing yourself to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. This is that flow. Allow it to happen. Stop fighting it. Stop being like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because last time. I don't want to do it because last month. I don't want to do it because last year. I don't want to do it. Stop doing that. It's time to allow it to flow. The result is what is needed. The result that is coming up as it flows is the result that is needed in your current position. You can't skip over. You got to understand this is your current position. There's lessons to be learned in this current position. The 4 represents the aspects of you sitting in that space, that meditation. That goes into the 9 of Pentacles. The reason that you're sitting inside of that space, the 9 of Pentacles represents the aspects of that end of that cycle. The end of the old gains. What you gained before is not what you're gaining next. See, a lot of times when we're going through our changes, we're thinking about what we about to get next. Ooh, I'm about to get a pony. Ooh, I'm about to get a car. Ooh, I'm about to get a house. Ooh, I'm about to get a new man. Ooh, I'm about to get a new bitch. Ooh, I'm about to get some new shit. No. Stop thinking about the game. Stop thinking about, ooh, I'm about to gain some new. No. Because all you're doing is putting more shit on the table that you're going to have to deal with later. And that goes into the aspects of the 4 of Pentacles, which represents the aspects of sitting and looking at and taking that, basically, I'm going to call it the profits, taking the profit and loss report with your life. It's time to take a profit and loss report with your life. It's time to look at everything inside of your space. It's time to look at everything inside of your space and be like, okay, this represented this represented that. This represented an escape. This represented an avoidance. This represented, okay, what am I still trying to avoid? Do I still need to avoid A, B, C? No. That's why you're sitting inside of that space now. That's what you're investing into now. This goes into the aspects of the Lover's card. Lovers represents a relationship, not just the external relationships or the gains from the relationship. So we're looking at the gains of the relationship. We're looking at the thought process of the relationship. We're looking at the actions inside relationships. You're inside of a space now where the relationships that you are holding on to, that you're thinking about what you're gaining from the relationship. But I'm still getting this, and I'm still getting this, and I'm still getting this. What is the lesson behind what you are becoming based on what you gain? See, a lot of times we keep getting in, you keep going in these spaces, you keep that same relationship with friends and family members because you're looking at what you gain. Oh, I gain emotion, I gain respect. But that respect is based on control. It is not based on the true aspects of authority. See, you can get respect based on your identity, but if you start shedding that identity, will you still get that respect? And that Gemini aspect, that battle in between the worlds. So you sitting inside that space with yourself like, but I gained so much. I've said this before. The keys of success are not what you gained. The keys to success are the lessons that you obtained. That's the only thing that's marked in success. The lesson that you gained. Because there's motherfuckers out here right now that have lost, that are losing right now. But they're becoming more humble than ever because they're learning some lessons. See, if you never lose anything, then you never gain the lesson. That leads into the aspects of that 3 of Swords. That relationship, that last pairing, it left you in this space with yourself. That job is leaving you in this space with yourself of you're afraid that if you leave, that's where the sorrow is coming from. That's where the sadness is coming from. You're feeling that I gave up, or I don't like giving up on people because I didn't want people to give up on me, or things of that nature. That's what's going to get you stuck. When you start projecting your thought process of, I don't want people to give up on me, into the space of the unknown, when you keep projecting into the unknown or into that void that you have to step into, all you're projecting is, I don't want people to give up on me. I just need someone to do this. And if they do this, this, and this, then we're okay. We'll keep going. And then every time that you notice when you do that, that's when shit get really, really slim. Shit seems to get better, but it's an illusion of better. It don't feel the same. Which leads into the aspects of that 3 of Wands. God damn, we got a lot of threes in that bitch. 3 of Wands represent the aspects of that. Ooh. That established strength. It's time to look at what you've had. What have you established? See, a lot of times we look inside of a space. The thing that we're afraid to fear, the thing that you fear is not the perception, but the perspective. You didn't establish anything. See, a lot of times people don't be establishing shit. You just in there hoping that everything gonna flow and things gonna go, and then you gonna be able to pick up. No. Every time you go into any space, what are you establishing? What are you establishing? When you go into a space and you set your intention to a space, what are you establishing? One of the major keys of you going into this process is, what are you establishing? And you must accept what you have established. The things that come up based on what you're trying to establish are the lessons, and you get into that. Which leads into, I'm going to pull one more card. That goes into the 5 of Pentacles. See, it's real, real rocky. You getting stuck. You want to be stubborn. You want to hold your ground. But your ground, as we just said in that 9 of Pentacles, that's old shit. You trying to hold grounds in old shit. You still trying to hold grounds in the old aspects of yourself. You still trying to use the old shit to combat this new shit. And you're noticing it's not working. I remember my first time doing that shit, noticing that shit was not working. I tried to use the old argument, shit didn't work. I'm trying to use old arguments. I'm trying to use shit from previous relationships, friendships, jobs. At my last job, in my last relationship, my last nigga did this, my last chick did this. And the reality to it, who the fuck are they? I'm not them. We aren't they. If that was working for you, then you would still be there. See, this is what I mean by track records. Motherfuckers out, if you're out here trying to build shit and you ain't checked your track record, and then you got somebody come in your space and say, hey, I've looked at my track record. I've owned my shit. What about you? And let's work on your track records. That's the key. What is your track record? Just because you created it multiple times before, that don't mean just because you kept creating it, you were either creating a blessing or a curse. You can multiply a curse the same way you multiply a blessing. But I've told y'all the aspects. A blessing is an opportunity to resources that expand you. A curse is an obstacle that restricts you. Yeah. A lot of y'all stuck in that restriction. So you just keep creating new points of Is that like things like you keep creating new shit to fail in because you know that you can. I like to fight my way out of holes when I'm in failure mode. That's no, that ain't how we doing it anymore. It's time to face it. It's time to face your judgments. It's time to face your judgments. But as I always say, and I'm always going to say, thank you for stopping through with Lucifer. I desire you to be the fucking best. I desire you to be the fucking best. I want you to understand that this healing is destructive. The level of honesty is going to challenge and let you understand why your expectations and all of the entitlements. It's time to do. It's time to hit you with that. It's time to hit that cleanse. Remember last time we talked about it's time to hit that fast. That's letting you know it's time to have that. It's time to hit that fast. It's time to hit that 30 days. It's time to hit that cleanse. It's time to cleanse that shit out. It's time to hit that cleanse. It's time to go. It's time to go stand in them waters. Time to hit that cleanse up. But yeah, hit me up because I make cleanses. All that good shit. But I desire you to be the fucking best. This healing shit is destructive, but it's rewarding. The level of honesty that you're going to tap into is going to take you outside of that comfort zone. You need to step out of that comfort zone. Can't be a victim forever. Yeah, can't be a victim forever. But again, I appreciate y'all for stopping through. Till next time. I love you. We love us. Ashe.